Moving on to Devin Haney, who will reportedly be returning to the ring on November 7th. Eddie Hearn said his next opponent will be either Gary Russell Jr. or Yuri Gamboa. Hearn added both are great fights for Devin as he approaches a key stretch in his career to become a standout star. Devin is ready to defend his WBC title against all comers, and I can't wait to see him back in the ring in November. Sergio, would you rather see Haney fight Gamboa or Gary Russell?
Both are excellent names on the resume of the young champion in Haney. So I'm going to be fine with either Yuriorkis Gamboa or Gary Russell Jr., but I like the smack talk that Russell and Haney have been doing. They've been getting a lot of attention on social media. Russell, we know he doesn't back down for no one. You know, he's an Olympian. His only losses with Lomachenko, and he talks the talk. He's slightly smaller, and that's the reason where we think, you know, that he's going to have trouble with the bigger Haney. But what he lacks in size, he makes up with fast hands, with experience, with that pedigree. Give me that fight. No cap, man. I don't know what that word means, but they keep throwing it out there on social media. No capping, no cap. No cap, Mannix.
Yeah, Gamboa is a name, but Russell is a name and a threat. Yes, in fighting Devin Haney, he would be moving up from 126 to 135, but we've seen fighters make jumps like that before. I don't think that's a massive step for Gary Russell. And Gary Russell, as we've seen, has some of the fastest hands in all of boxing. And it's about time for Gary Russell to take on a tough test. I mean, how many years has it been since Gary Russell has taken on a tough comer? Going all the way back to his fight against Lomachenko, the one that he lost in one of Lomachenko's early fights. I want to see Gary Russell in tough. I just don't think that it's going to happen, Sergio. The Instagram video that Gary Russell put out there, it didn't make a lot of sense. Russell said, all right, I got an offer sheet from you, but it doesn't say that Matchroom's going to buy it. It doesn't say if Dazn is going to buy it. I can say unequivocally that Matchroom wants Gary Russell versus Devin Haney, and Dazn wants Gary Russell versus Devin Haney. So if you're Gary Russell, the clock is ticking. I think they're leaning towards Haney versus Gamboa right now. If you want that fight, Gary Russell, you've got to go out there and seize it. Accept the terms of the deal and get in the ring with Devin Haney.
Carpe diem, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. He wanted the $1.5 million. He got the money. He got the money. It'll be great for Dazn and PBC to work together. We know what happened when Top Rank and Dazn got together. It was explosive. It was a unified fight. So I want to see them work into each other. I want to see this fight. I think it's an excellent matchup between the longest reigning champion and the youngest champ. This is what boxing's about. Make the fight happen.
And if you think about it, like, this is a fight that would most likely wind up on Dazn because Eddie Hearn is going to be the promoter for it. But if Gary Russell wins this fight, he can take a 135-pound title and he can challenge someone like Gervonta Davis in a mega fight. So while PBC would be taking a risk by sending Russell to the quote other side of the street, the reward is there as well. You know, Gervonta Davis is going to be looking for fights in the future. Gary Russell would be a big fight for him.
Hey, look at what happened when Ramirez fought Hooker. Ramirez knocked out Hooker and took that belt back to across the street with Top Rank. So look, it's all about making the best fights. Dazn's willing to do that. So hopefully Gary Russell Jr. signs his name on the dotted line, takes the money, and runs.